Hello, hello, hello. It's Attorney Mike Revlin coming to you from Chicago as usual. We just got over the Chille stream debacle. That was actually pretty funny. I had that forced into my day. I'm glad I did. It was good times. But I had a whole bunch of clips lined up here today. It all started with Judge Alex Manning. And I feel bad because I select these clips that are fun and interesting where the fireworks are. There's lots of mundane business being done where she's in a normal tone of voice. She's quite a rational, nice person, generally speaking, but they can't behave. And you end up getting things like this.
Okay. Stop. Both of you. Mr. Milner, pick up your phone. I don't want that crotch shot. Pick your phone up, hold it in your hand. Okay, Madam Interpreter.
Well, there. That gives you a little sample. We're gonna have her take us in. She kicks the festivities off, and I'm gonna give a little background to it. She's in the middle of a hearing. Again, everything was going fine. But these people, these litigants have a hot mic. They don't realize it. They're saying a bunch of stupid stuff in front of her. And she loses her mind. It's delicious. That's how we start this event here.
No, she'll trip you out. She'll ask the same question again. So just stay focused and look happy or look like no, the rest of it. You're not in the way you're looking. It's super tired. She was kind of pausing. Yeah, she was saying. She was saying you don't go and say no because no, she would make. Yeah, she was saying you have to say this. You will try. Yes, you promise me you'll try. That's what she was saying. Because she's not gonna. No, she's not gonna make us.
You don't need to tell your mother what I said. Get back on this screen. You, Miss Carlson, Miss Rubel, Mr. Tannen, now. Miss Carlson, Mr. Tannen, Miss Phillip, turn your camera on now. Send them out of the room. Send those two girls out of that room now. Don't say a word. Just send them out of the room. Oh, and go ahead and put yourself on mute now. Mr. Tannen, Miss Carlson. Well, obviously they weren't sitting here listening like the rest of us and everybody else on YouTube. Mr. Tannen, Miss Carlson, yell, tell them to get on screen.
But Judge, did you want any of that before on the record? Because I took it all down, Miss Rubel.
Yeah, absolutely. We put all of that on the record. Mr. Tannen, Miss Carlson, I don't know.
I love that. Hell yes, I'm proud of this record. Let's do it.
If you were here listening, well, y'all must have missed everything that Miss Phillips and her two daughters said. And I'm just sitting here. Let's see. I'm looking through the pretrial. Let me see if Mr. Tannen put it in here. If her and her daughters was going to have a conversation on Zoom without it on mute. Nope, wasn't on here.
Northfield Township versus Adam Bosich, 22N000130. Mr. Bosich, could you state your name, please?
Yep.
Yeah, Adam Bosich, ma'am.
Mr. Bosich, you're here today on a speeding ticket.
Oh, Lord. We end up having the whole trial here. Don't worry, it doesn't take long. But this guy will test your patience.
The ticket was issued to you on northbound US 23 near North Territorial Road in Northfield Township.
Thanks to Greg Z for sending this one to me.
Washtenaw County, Michigan on April 5th, 2022. The ticket was issued for speeding 35 miles per hour over the speed limit 105 and a 70. The penalty for that is $240 and 4 points. I'm sure you'd like to avoid those points on your driving record, so we can talk about that. You have a terrible driving record. You have a speeding ticket, another speeding ticket from April, disobeying a traffic control device from January, driving left of center from October of 21, speeding ticket from 2020.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mandatory suspension because you have so many points.
Deep breaths for this.
Yeah, did you want to say something?
Yes, Your Honor. I do have some. This is not my first speeding ticket at all, and but I also didn't. Well, it was just like.
Look at Judge Fink.
I just was just looking to get like points reduced because it's a lot of points at this point, and then that was pretty much it. But
okay, so
thank you for that rousing argument. We are all stupider for having heard it, et cetera, et cetera.
you don't have a driver's license right now, and it's more than a year before you
soul.
can get one, correct?
I don't know. Yeah, that's it. But should be. You stopped.
Okay.
His
So
actual speed was I paced him between 105 and 112. Excuse me.
all
So
right.
there's a little bit more going on why I wrote him that much. You know me, I don't typically write for a full amount typically, but there's a little bit more going on here in the situation. Is the reason why I wrote him for the 105 and the 70.
Is there any reason, officer, that you didn't pull me over?
Okay, why don't we have a hearing? Because there's a lot of talking going on, and I think people should be under oath if we're going to have this kind of conversation. Could you raise your right hand, please, Mr. Bosich?
Yeah.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I like Judge Finks. Like, I don't want to hear this nonsense twice. It's a speeding ticket. We're telling the whole story. Let's be under oath while we do it.
I'm going to go ahead and let Officer Basso testify, and then if there's something that you want to tell me or something that you want me to ask him, we can do that, okay? But we'll have him testify under oath, and then that might answer your question. When you're ready, Officer Basso, go ahead.
Good morning, Your Honor. The citation was April 5th of 2022 at approximately 10:40 in the evening. I was stationary radar traffic on the overpass of North Territorial and US 23. I sit on the roundabout facing southbound, but I'm facing the northbound traffic. So I basically shoot my radar down the exit ramp from northbound 23 onto North Territorial. I have a clear, unobstructed view of the both lanes of travel, and I get clear and constant, steady tones. So on that date and time, I observed the defendant's vehicle traveling northbound at a higher rate of speed than the posted 70 mile an hour. I released the hold switch in radar unit 171, which is a certified unit, which was calibrated before and at the end of my shift. It was working properly throughout my shift. And I got a reading of 93, 94, and 94. Clear, constant, steady tone, no distortion. He was the vehicle I was tracking. So I entered onto 23 and got in behind him right around just south of 6 Mile Road is by the time I caught up to him. I then realized that he was traveling over the 94 miles an hour with my speedometer. I released the hold switch on the radar unit and used the radar unit to do my tracking between 6 Mile and Barker Road. During that time, his speed ranged from 105 up to 112. I was about 4 or 5 car lengths behind him at that speed, trying to maintain distance.
I think we got it. Thank you. Okay, sounds good. All right, bye-bye.
Microphone off if you're not Officer Basso or me. Thank you.
So I paced him between 105 and 112 throughout that pace between those 6 Mile and Barker Road. I activated my emergency lights and stopped the driver and identified him as Adam Bozich, Bozich, with his Michigan driver's license. When I made contact with the driver, his music was extremely loud where I couldn't even communicate with him. I asked him to turn the music down, and he told me I needed to use my big boy voice. And he only rolled the window down about 2 to 3 inches down. I was eventually able to ask him at a point why he was going so fast, and he asked me why I was going that fast. So at that point, the dialogue was not going to go very well, so I went back and issued him the citation for the 105, which was the lowest pace speed that I had, 105 in a 70. I'm a certified radar operator. I've been so for 27 years. I did check the radar unit prior to and at the end of my shift, and it was working properly throughout my shift.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Bosich.
Yeah, I was going to say before you wanted to make a hearing and
Yeah, you interrupted his brilliant argument, Judge Fink. You only waited 30 seconds from the pause of his last grunt to switch this to a hearing.
it just seemed like he could have pulled me over when I was going 90, and I was wondering why it seemed like he maybe, because he didn't drive like a cop.
He could have pulled me over when I was going 90. It's an admission that you were going 90, which is fine. It's a speeding ticket, and you're going to get rung up based on the officer's testimony anyway. But it's dumb. And perhaps he could. He could have done a lot of things. He chose to pull you over when he did, and he made the readings he did.
At all, and I didn't realize it was a cop because it was dark, and then he put his lights on later. Like, it seemed like he was just trying to get me to boost my speed by tailing me, and that was pretty much it, though. But it just seems like he was just maybe, I don't know. This guy seems like he's like takes a lot of pride.
I think that what
easy to just pull people over on the highway, but that's all.
So you're saying that Officer Basso's behavior caused you to drive 112 miles per hour in a 70 mile per hour zone? Is that what you're saying?
No, because that's lawless. But the fact that
it's a good question, Judge. I think that's exactly what he was saying.
he could have flashed his lights when I was going 90, and everybody knows, like anybody who was me or him knows that he could have just flicked me when I was going 90 because he was driving right behind me real fast, tailing me. And if it was a real car, I was just trying to get out of their way. And yeah, it's lawless, but just trying to push, like, keep traffic going because there's a lot of cars around us when I was going 90. And that's all I would like. It's just like, okay, yeah, you can get me going 105 if you tail me when there's cars all on our right side and shit. But then if you just
now you're swearing. Now you're swearing in court.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Okay, so I didn't hear Officer Basso say that at any point he measured your speed at 90. What I heard him say is that when he was using his radar on the overpass, he measured your speed at 93. That was the lowest amount that he measured. And your driver's license is currently suspended because of how many points you have. You have like I said, you do not have a good driving record. Officer Basso has testified today that in addition to driving at a speed that is unsafe for everybody else that shares the freeway with you, plus you, unsafe for you, you were borderline combative with him. And I don't have an issue changing the speed to 93, it doesn't help you. But if you'd like me to do that because you think that you should have a ticket for a slower speed, 93 miles per hour over the speed limit is still too many points because your license is suspended. 93 is 3 points. So if you'd like to admit responsibility to 93, I'll amend the ticket to that. If you don't want to admit and you just want me to...
I honestly think she's being too nice to him here. She's already held the trial and she knows she's going to find him guilty. It's not the end of the world. It's a speeder and she's trying to be sort of nice. But I mean, you could just convict him here. He slowly comes to the right conclusion, but it's close.
Make a decision, then I'm going to find you responsible for 105.
Yeah, I admit responsibility.
Okay.
You can admit responsibility for 93, or I find you responsible for 105. I can't believe Adam got there. He got there though. Good on you, brother. Good on you. The first smart thing you did.
Defendant has admitted responsibility for the ticket as amended. I'm going to keep the fine at $240.
Happy birthday.
We'll amend the ticket to 93 miles per hour over the speed limit. 21 to 25. Oh, is that right? So it's still 4? 16 to 25 is 3 over. That's what my code says. So it's 16 to 25, 3 points. Okay. Fines and costs are still the 240. So because you're here with the speed as high as it was measured, you have to listen to my speeding information. Go online and Google how much pavement your vehicle needs to come safely to a stop at that speed. And you will find that it is somewhere in the neighborhood of 2.5 or 3 football fields worth of pavement. And part of why we have speed limits on the freeways is because you don't have that kind of space. So if something had happened and there had been another vehicle that got in front of you suddenly, or a deer ran out in front of you or something like that, you would not have been able to bring your car safely to a stop. And a car accident at that speed is definitely going to cause severe injury to someone, if not death.
I think that's the problem here.
Speed limits are not about what you are doing. They're not about your particular skills as a driver, whether those are real or imagined. They're about the danger that speeding presents to everybody else that shares the roadway with you. Usually I give 10 days to pay. Do you need more time than that? The fine is $240.
No, man.
10 days to pay. You're all set.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Thank you, Officer Basso.
Officer, you're dismissed.
If you haven't hit like and subscribe, I just want you to know that you're hurting Jack's feelings.
Look at you. All centered.
All right. I ran into this judge for the first time this week, although he's certainly been around. I think it's Judge Van. That's what I got. He's down in Florida. I don't know what's on this call. Probably not anything exciting, but he's just kind of funny. It's sort of just a good, fun vibe.
And yourself and happy.
Always.
Always. All right. Is this Mr. Evans?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Evans, you're before the court on state filed information for grand theft. You understand that charge?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. I understand you've been given copies of paperwork and advised of your rights. Is that true, sir?
Yes, sir.
Based on your application, I find that you do qualify. I'm going to go ahead and appoint the public defender representing you. Any question about that?
No, sir.
Do you have the criminal history?
Yeah, it's juvenile.
Wow.
Battery, felony battery, simple assault, controlled substance, petty theft, grand theft auto. He also has 2 DWLSRs open with you.
This is Florida.
Obviously, he's way up, but
And Your Honor, he just got out of a high-risk facility that he committed this. The legal did this grand theft, and I received a charge over the weekend for a new burglary of a dwelling and a dealing stolen property I will also be waiving up. He has an extensive history, and I've spoken to his family when we received the DJJ recommendation for his current charge. It's alleged he may be harming small animals, so it is a concern that he is a risk for the public. So we would ask for at least a $5,000 bond.
Bond says 5,000. Court date's going to be October the 17th at 9 o'clock. No contact directly, indirectly, or through a third party alleged victim. Good luck, sir.
Step to your right to the T on the floor. When the green light comes on, sign. It'll come on in a minute.
Who's the attorney for?
The third one.
Okay. Lewis?
Go ahead and sign, sir.
All right, we're going to do Mr. Davis.
Yes. You can go ahead and step out. I'll bring you a copy.
Because this keeps up.
Huh?
We got to hold it because it keeps up. This is you. Should be. I hope they are. Got other issues or not. She's not good.
He's on it. State your name, sir.
Mr. Davis, before the court, charged with possession of methamphetamine and possession of paraphernalia. Do you understand the charges, sir?
Yes, sir.
I understand you've been given copies of paperwork and advised of your rights. Is that true? Based on your application, I find that you do qualify for the service of the public defender's office. I'm going to go ahead and appoint the public defender to represent you. Any question about that?
No, sir.
Deputy, criminal history.
19 ammo, weapon by convicted felon ×2, paraphernalia, possession of meth. 18 domestic cocaine intent, meth delivery, less than 20 synthetic meth battery.
Okay, good. Thank you. 5,000 on the meth, 1,000 on the paraphernalia, random UAs is directed by the court. Court date's going to be November the 7th at 9 o'clock.
I like him. Okay, thank you. I get it. Meth, and more meth. Uh-huh.
Step to your right to the T on the floor. 6,000. When that green light come on, sorry. Yeah, it's 6,000. You're about to get a copy of it. Step on the red X. State your name.
Mr. Lewis, before the court, charged violation of pretrial release. You understand that charge?
Yes, sir.
It's
all
possible.
Right. I understand you've been given copies of paperwork and advised of your rights. Is that true?
Got a copy of the paperwork?
Oh, yes, sir. I do have a copy of the paperwork.
All right. Your attorney is present. We'll give him an opportunity to speak on your behalf. Can you hear me, sir?
Hello, Your Honor. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Christopher Rodriguez for the record. We have not been officially retained on this case, but we are retained on the cases on pretrial release.
So I did see this much. This attorney is like, we haven't been retained, i.e. paid, but you picked him up. I'll take a swing for my client. It doesn't help, but there we have it. Oh, look what we got here. Ian Runkle, how you doing, buddy? Do I have you muted?
No, it's just that the instant I came on, my my mic cable fell out.
Oh, well, welcome here.
Hey, good to be here.
We're watching first appearances in a court out of California. This ought to be good for you. You do criminal defense. I know you do firearms law, but that's criminal defense in Canada, right?
Yeah, well, there's firearms law is kind of some of both, because there's issues of you've got guns and people get charged for things like that, but you also get issues that are sort of administrative, like they want to take your guns, they haven't charged you with anything, and you don't want to lose your guns. So All
Very
sorts of
cool.
fun issues.
Very cool. All right. This is in Florida, and mostly it's meth, and more meth.
So is this the accused or the lawyer?
This is a lawyer. We got a judge here who's pretty funny. He doesn't have a robe on or anything. He's pretty funny. I don't know if he says anything funny here because I didn't see the clip yet, but we'll watch it
Fair
together.
enough. Sounds good.
Just reading the affidavit, Your Honor, I know that Mr. Lewis's bank account is getting basically cleaned out. He's because of this situation, and I know that he's having difficulty getting funds for a place to stay.
I know where there's free lodging.
So I think that may stem.
I don't know how Deborah got in there.
That may be the root cause of this situation. He is not any danger to his spouse, and I do not think he was deliberately in any way trying to break the no contact order. He's just he doesn't really have any place to stay at the moment.
What do you want to tell me now?
Well, part of that is untrue. Mr. Lewis took out on our business bank account the other day in the amount of over $11,000, including some funds that are tenants' security deposits. He has taken residence without my consent on our a duplex property we own in Springfield. He has a trailer that our mailman has given him to live in, and he is in the process of setting up power there. I do believe that he violated the no contact order again within the last 48 hours because there's a power pole, a temporary power pole that was on the property directly
Okay,
across.
let's not talk about all the facts of all the case.
Okay, sorry, just.
No, I know,
I
but
believe he's still, I don't believe he's following.
Okay.
Step 4 3.
that's fine. Thank you, ma'am. All right, Mr. Lewis, on the new charge, the violation pretrial release, bond is set at $5,000. Your court date is September the 23rd at 8:30. You're to have no contact directly, indirectly, or through a third party. And I'm revoking release in cases 22, 36, 89 CF. Good luck, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Step to your right to the T.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
When the light comes on,
Thank you, Your Honor.
next. Ready? State your name.
Ms. Joyner, you're fully court charged possession of methamphetamine and loitering or prowling. Do you understand the charges?
Yes.
I understand you've been given copies of paperwork and advised of your rights. Is that true?
That last one was a little weird.
All right, ma'am. Based on your application, I find you do qualify for the service of the public defender's office. I'm going to go ahead and appoint the public defender to represent you. Any question about that? Yes, criminal history.
21 burglary times 2, grand theft times 2, fraudulent illegal use of credit cards, false ID, FTA on those, and Tennessee, you had an FTA and 2 thefts. That's it.
I said at 5,000 a meth, 1,500 on the loitering and prowling. Court date's going to be October the 17th at 9 o'clock with random UAs, no contact directly, indirectly, or through a third party.
Step to your right to the T.
Is meth that bad in Canada as well?
Lots of meth, lots of fentanyl. Lots of fentanyl these days.
Yeah. It's the same.
I was sitting there going, wait, this guy's mailman gave him a trailer to live in?
I don't know what's going on there. I don't understand who else was speaking there. They were like dumping on him about the case, but it wasn't a prosecutor. I don't know who it was. Because they're off camera. I can't tell.
I was wondering if that was actually like the person who the no contact order was against or with.
It might be. It might be like a complainant, right?
Yeah. I also thought it was a little weird. Like I thought it was the judge making that snarky comment about, well, I know a place he could. That was the prosecutor interjecting midway through defense.
I think it was a complaining witness or something because they weren't professional like an attorney. Like they didn't know what to do, and the judge was cutting them off.
Well, I think that might have been the prosecutor who jumped in with, I know a place that he could stay because I'm pretty sure I've seen that face.
Well, no. That was Deborah. That's the stock quote clip that I put in. That is a prosecutor, but not in this court. I just threw that in.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow, that's
Speaking of which, I want to take this opportunity. You've been on before, and I've been on your channel and everything, but this is Runkle of the Bailey. Go over there and subscribe. If you've been living under a rock and you're not there yet, go over there because it's good stuff. All right. Plus, I also want to know. I also want to get the Canadian take on thruples. What do you know about thruples?
In the sense of like polyamorous, whatever.
Here's all I know about thruple. I'm going to tell you what I know about thruples right here.
I'm going to use Miss Fowler's word. She now is in a thruple. And not only does she choose to be in a thruple, and she's shacked up in the bed with the thruple. Now, if anybody thinks this is okay, I am in the wrong world.
It's just one of my favorite stat clips. I love it. That's a GAL in court in Texas. The mom was in a thruple. He was not happy.
I'm just sort of like, in most of the cases, it's sort of who cares, but
yeah, it is who cares.
When you get this old guy
I did a video on it. It was pretty nasty, actually.
Oh, fair enough.
All right. Back to it. Let's do it here.
When the light comes on, sign. Step on the red X, ma'am.
This is just
State your name.
Is this Mrs. Wendell? Ma'am, fully court charge driving under the influence. You understand that charge, ma'am?
Yes.
I understand you've been given copies of paperwork and advised of your rights. Is that true?
I do.
All right. Based on your application, you indicated that you wanted a public defender, but you didn't sign the affidavit, so I can't appoint one for you today. If you want a public defender for the duration of your case, we need you to fill out the appropriate paperwork so we can determine if you qualify. You also have the option of hiring your own attorney to represent yourself. Any question about these options?
I do not. Also, want to say, can I say something? I do have 2 jobs that I do work every day. I didn't know if that would help. If not, but I can't afford an attorney or anything if I possibly could.
That's kind of cute. Like, she's so out of it. Like, they're trying to appoint an attorney. She's like, I have 2 jobs, which is good. It's to her credit. It's the only time it isn't good is when you're trying to qualify for an attorney.
Well, I mean, lots of people working 2 jobs still can't afford a lawyer. So
yeah, absolutely. And I believe that's the case.
And I'm just kind of surprised. This is a DUI, like an impaired driving, and she's being brought in cuffs.
Oh, yeah.
Is this like her first one, or is this like her 5th? I guess they haven't said. But,
I don't know, but I doubt it. But having said that, no, they'll bring you in. You're going to spend the night and go in most of the time in most places.
Huh. Where I am, usually get released sort of at the station.
Yeah.
So.
Do you want a public defender?
Yes, please.
All right.
Right now.
They're going to give you a copy of the paperwork to sign this time, okay?
Okay. Sorry
All
about
right.
that.
Deputy, criminal history?
In California, DUI 13, 15, 17,
So,
and
yes.
20.
1 in California. Okay.
Almost ran out of fingers. Bond set at $5,000. Court date's going to be September the 23rd at 8:30. Good luck, ma'am. No alcohol while you're on release.
Step to your right to the
Appreciate
T.
that. Thank you so much.
Step to your right to the T. When the light comes on, sign. Next. Clark. Step on the X. State your name.
Clark, full court for trespass property and possession of paraphernalia. Do you understand the charges?
Yes, sir.
I understand you've been given copies of paperwork and advised of your rights. Is that true, ma'am? Based on your application, I find that you do qualify to appoint the public defender representation. Any question about that? All right, then you're also on probation in case 22-30-74 on Judge Register. Is that right? Okay. On the trespass bonds, $2,500. The paraphernalia is $1,000. Your court date's going to be September the 23rd at 8:30. And I'm signing a warrant for violation of probation in case 22-30-74 CF. Good luck, ma'am.
Step to your right to the T. When the light comes on, sign. State your name, ma'am.
Chille, on a face of appear for trial management for a driving license been revoked. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
The bond's been set at $10,000. Your court date is September the 27th at 9 o'clock.
All right, step behind her, the signature pad. Next. State your name, ma'am.
Amelia Butterfield.
Ms. Butterfield, 24 charged forgery of a motor vehicle title. Do you understand that charge, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
I just need you to give me copies of paperwork and advise of your rights. Is that true?
Yes, sir. I have 2 jobs.
Based on your application, I find that you do qualify for the service of the Public Defender's Office. I'm going to go ahead and appoint the Public Defender to represent you. Any question about that?
No, sir.
Deputy Criminal History, Ms. Butterfield?
11 grand theft, 12 grand theft, insufficient funds, VOPs through 17.
Bond set at 5,000. Court dates November 7th, 9 o'clock. No contact, directly, indirectly, or through a third party alleged victim.
No, this call's fun when some of them try to fight. You probably have the same thing. I mean, Canada's like very similar to the United States. I know, yeah, whatever. But just so you know, this like first appearance is like obviously they just pulled out of jail. So there's probably a prosecutor floating around, but they don't even say anything, and they don't have an attorney yet. So
Yeah,
it's just here's a date. You either get an attorney or you don't. Here's your bond. That's it.
So in Canada, this would be a little bit different, or at least where I am, because it wouldn't be the judge's call as to whether or not you qualify. It's actually, it goes through legal aid, and you have to make an application. They look at your financials and all of that stuff. The prosecutor would be a lot more involved. Like it's less of a sort of the judge coming up and being like, next. The prosecutor would be reading out sort of what they're charged with, what their position is on bail. A lot of people are already out on bail. Most people in Canada get arrested or get released by the officers. Like if you are there at your first time stealing from a liquor store, they're probably not holding you to speak to a judge or a justice of the peace right away. You're probably getting released by the police with conditions like, hey, don't go back to that liquor store. Don't have any weapons, that kind of stuff. But yeah, this is unusual here. It's sort of just in terms of how they're doing it and how fast they're going. And
I've seen it's funny. I don't do criminal defense, so I've only learned about this literally from doing YouTube. But it does make sense though. I mean, they're really non-contested hearings. The judge is always saying just basically be quiet. The only question is how much am I going to make your bail, and are you going to get an attorney or not? That's it.
Now, are these all cash bails?
A lot of times, I think these bails when they say them, it's 10% of what they say. But it depends jurisdiction to jurisdiction. I mean, it could literally be different in the next county.
Because in Canada, you don't typically get cash bail. Usually bail is either released without any financial obligation or a promise to pay. And a promise to pay means you don't have to pay anything right then, but it's got a dollar amount attached to it as a threat. So if you breach your conditions or you miss court, then they can come after you for that money, but you don't pay it to get out. But it's also bail bondsmen are illegal. You can't do bail bondsman stuff. So
well,
if they say
the case, at least not throughout the United States. I mean, they're certainly legal in some jurisdictions.
Yeah, if they say $5,000 cash in Canada, you have to find
$5,000 cash.
Yeah, you can't go to a bondsman to be like, I need the $5,000. So
what's this? Mike and Ron, you should plan a trip to Yellowknife to visit your northern fans. Okay, sure. I don't know where Yellowknife is. I've heard of it.
Way north, and it gets cold there.
You're getting some love here. What's this other one here? Kathy Richards, snacks for Ian's monkey. Does Ian have a monkey, or are we making a reference here? What's going on?
This is a reference to the Lawyers and Dragons game because the character I'm playing on that has a monkey familiar.
Very cool.
Step to your right behind her. Next. When the green light comes on, you'll sign, okay? Red X, state your name.
The secret report charge is selling cocaine. Do you understand the charge?
Yes, I understand it.
I understand you've been given copies of paperwork and advised of your rights. That's true?
Yes, sir.
Based on your application,
I
you do
have a
qualify
job.
for the services. What's that?
I'm sorry. I have a job, Your Honor.
So do I.
Okay. Okay, what were you going to say, Your Honor?
I was going to tell you that I'm appointing a public defender to represent you, so you've got an attorney now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I also like
Yeah,
how he's got his finger up this whole time.
17.
What's that?
You see how he's got his middle finger up? I don't think he's doing it.
Yeah. He's kind of spicy. It's low key, but he's kind of spicy. He's actually pretty funny.
Resisting with cocaine possession, paraphernalia, FTA on those charges, VOPs through 21 on those charges, and there's an open driver's license case out there on the NTA.
Okay, what do you want to tell me, Ms. Seacrest? Without talking about the facts of your case.
Right.
And his other colleague kept saying his tagline, which was fantastic, was "Don't make me change my mind." Like he'd do a bond. He would try to be nice, but and they'd start talking. He's like, "Don't make me change my mind."
I also like the way he interrupted. I've got a job. You're about to say something that might actually screw you, so let me just interrupt you right here. He's being a little spicy, but if you can read between the lines, sort of doing this kind of work. He's basically helping the person out while doing it in a really kind of tired fashion, because he's saying I don't need you to tell me how much money you have because I'm about to appoint you a public defender, and you're about to say hey, I make too much money, and then I can't do it anymore. So
he looks cranky, but he's really being nice. That's what
Was wanting to ask for a bond because I have a job that I need to get to.
Bond 15,000. No contact or no. Gosh, now you got me going. Your analysis, as directed by your trial judge, your court date's going to be October the 31st at 9:00. Y'all know whose birthday is October 31st?
Nope. Step over to the T. Don't egg him on. Step on the T.
You know.
The deputy knows. Yeah, you're right. It's funny that the deputy's sort of acting like a prosecutor usually would. I get it. It's a first appearance. It's very low level, routine stuff. But you're right. They actually have a police officer acting the way a prosecutor usually would.
Actually, here in Alberta, that used to be so you get arrested, and let's say the police don't want to let you out right away. They'd take you and you do a phone bail hearing with the justice of the peace. And previously, it would be a police officer who'd actually act as the prosecutor. Mm-hmm. And so you'd have, and this was always a little wild because sometimes police officers didn't really know the law, or
no, they don't know that. They don't know procedure. They know what they need to know.
And so sometimes they'd make submissions that were just not lawful.
Right.
And so that was all. But then we had a court case, a decision where the court said, actually, the police have never had the power to do this. And so now it's Crown prosecutors who do it. And so those late night bail hearings are done with actual trained lawyers. So it's gotten a little better.
Interesting. Yeah. This seems a little odd to me, but again, it's hard for me to say because I don't practice in this area at all.
Yeah. I mean, this doesn't seem reasonable as a way to do it. So
yeah.
Say it.
State your name, ma'am.
Tiffany Yarbrough.
Yarbrough, you pull the court started use of a two-way communication device during the commission of a felony, possession of marijuana less than 20 grams, and possession of paraphernalia. Oh, so I got you. Okay, I'm with it. I got it. Yeah.
Some of these laws seem weird. I
understand you've been given copies of paperwork and advice of your rights. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Yarbrough, you've indicated you don't want a public defender. Is that the case?
No, sir. I don't
okay.
want one.
Are you going to hire your own attorney or represent yourself?
I mean, I don't.
This is a bad thing.
You understand that if you're not going to get a public defender, then the other choice is hire an attorney or represent yourself.
I mean, I guess I get a public defender then, but I ain't got no money to hire no attorney.
Yes.
Yeah, right there. He's like, you finally made the right call. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And by the way, happy birthday, Lars. I want to get that. 66 today. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Would you agree with me that it's probably a good idea to get an attorney for a case like this?
I mean, what's the point in having an attorney when our,
No, don't say anything else about the fact check. Please.
Yes.
Right there, yeah. Her response is effectively, "What's the point of getting an attorney when I'm guilty of sin?" And he's like, "No, don't say that. Don't say that."
Yeah. Stop, Red. I'm going to throw a flag on this play. You got to stop.
Yeah, he really is a good guy.
Well, and the other thing is clients don't necessarily know if they are guilty, because I've had clients who are just like, I want to plead guilty. And I look at the file and I'm like, you didn't do it though. Like factually,
right?
You didn't do it.
Right.
So people just don't understand that. I had, one guy, he's like, I just want to plead guilty because I got in this fight at the bar. And I'm like, okay, but the video footage that I have says that you were hit by a chair and smacked in the face with a glass, and then you punched the guy once and knocked him out.
Right. And of course we know also and even if you did do it and you're guilty of sin, let's plead not guilty and let me work it out for you. We'll probably plead to a lesser charge or something, but come on.
Yeah, you don't want to.
I don't want you to say anything that can be used against you later, okay? If you want a public defender, fill out the appropriate application so we can determine if you qualify. If you qualify, we'll be happy to give you an attorney. Okay? All right. Deputy, criminal history, Ms. Yarborough?
Less than 20 and 20. That's it.
Ma'am, I'm going to release you on what's called pretrial release. You need to report to the pretrial release office before 9 o'clock tomorrow. Your court date's going to be November the 7th at 9 o'clock, and you're going to submit to random UAs directed by your pretrial release officer. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Step on the C. When the green light come on, sign. Next.
Ooh, she was not happy she had to submit to UAs. You can see that's the whole problem. She's like, I want to continue to use.
The thing is that you can't actually do that usually in Canada for a bail. Like make people submit random samples.
Really? Well, you sure can here. John, do you know Ian? John?
Ian, I think this might be the first time we've been on.
Might be the first stream together.
I think it's the second, but
it might be the second.
On briefly. Yeah.
Well, welcome aboard, John. He still doesn't have a YouTube channel, but that's neither here nor there. All right, let's carry on.
Yeah, he got canceled by Boozy, so that's
Red X, sir. State your name.
Michael Norton.
Mr. Norton, before the court charged with trespass. You understand that charge?
Yes, sir.
I understand you've been given copies of paperwork and advised of your rights. Is that true, sir?
Sir?
You've been advised of your rights today?
Yes, sir.
You got a copy of your paperwork?
Yes, sir.
All right. Based on your application, I find that you do qualify for the services of the Public Defender's Office. I'm going to go ahead and appoint the Public Defender to represent you. Any question about that?
Gave you a public defender.
You got this guy in stripes on a trespassing charge?
He just gave you a public defender.
Florida.
You're welcome. Yeah, criminal history.
Did he give him PR bond? I didn't notice. If it's a trespass, they're going to let him go. I mean, they're not going to hold him.
I mean, that's just wild that the guy's... Usually you wouldn't even be like taken to the police station on a trespassing charge where I am. They'd just write you a ticket. And
well, it also depends if it's a second or if there's an aggravating factor. But, who knows?
Usually the only way you get arrested is if you're like refusing to leave after they trespass you.
Well, John is our resident Florida expert. In fact, what was the case we just did? Florida v.
Oh, that was
Summers.
Yeah, Summers. So
I'm doing this case. It was on A&E or what? No, what was it court? No. And I'm into it. And John's like, oh yeah, I live near the courthouse. I'm like, go over there, dude. So it all worked out. All right.
This year, no valid. 20.
But this isn't your neck of the woods.
What I was saying is that, Ian, it's totally different in Florida. Florida does not F around. It really doesn't.
I kind of feel like I don't want to go to Florida now because if I take
Florida
rocks, I could end up in.
Well, as long as you don't violate the laws, everyone's going to be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
The problem is that there's so many laws that not violating the law is not really a thing. It's just not getting caught. And
well, that's a philosophical thing, because in your Charter of Human Rights and all of that, there are so many laws, and it was Alexis de Tocqueville that said when there's too many laws that nobody can know whether they're actually filing them or not, that is kind of soft tyranny.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, when you're going somewhere as a tourist, right? If it's really impossible to know, like, hey, if I'm walking around with a pocket knife, is this perfectly okay? Or is this something that's going to be something that sends you to jail? Because the U.S. has weird law. I mean, Canada's got weird laws too, but the U.S. has weird laws where there's
Florida, Florida, yes. New York, no.
And you've got weird places where, like in the States, it's like, okay, it's perfectly okay for you to carry, to open carry a firearm. But if you have like an openal knife that is a little bit too long, then you're going to end up going to jail for carrying that around. And I'm like,
oh, you can get yourself some guns in Florida. That's not a problem.
I probably can't, but
Florida's all about it. I love Florida. I love Florida.
You get them.
Yeah.
21 FTA no valid, FTA criminal mischief, VOP, 20 ISWFTA controlled substance, VOP.
But I'm on probation. I ain't been on probation.
Petty theft 19, false info 19, and another DL in 20.
I've been on papers for about a year now.
You're on probation currently?
I've been on probation for about a year. Yes, sir.
Good. All right. Bonds 1500. Court date is September the 23rd. That's tomorrow at 8:30. Good luck, sir. I'll see you in the morning.
Step on the T. When the green light comes on, sign. State your name, sir.
Anthony Massaline. Mr. Massaline, you're before the court, charged with driving license, suspend or revoke, and false ID to a law enforcement officer. Do you understand the charges?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Massaline, based on your application, I find that you do qualify for the service of the public defender's office. I'm going to go ahead and appoint the public defender representative you. So you've got an attorney now in these cases. You're also on probation with Judge Register. Is that right? Ron said $2,500 on the DWLSR, $2,500 on the false ID to a law enforcement officer. Court date will be September the 23rd.
Is this?
What
county is this?
It's Bay County.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Panama City and Panama City Beach are the towns in Bay County. I'm intimately familiar. I know the situation.
All right. I just was curious and
no.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. It's right next to Alabama there.
30. I'm signing a warrant for violation of probation case 21-2254-CL. Good luck, sir.
Step to your right to the T. When the light comes on, sign. Next. Red X, sir. Here you go. State your name.
Warren Elliott. Sir, you put report charge of aggravated stalking. You understand the charge?
Yes, sir.
I understand you've been given copies of paperwork and advised of your rights. Is that true, sir?
Excuse me?
There wasn't a meth charge in here. I think you should get a medal, honestly. I mean, just aggravated stalking, and he just kept the meth out of it.
Got a copy of your paperwork?
Yes.
Were you advised of your rights today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You've indicated you're going to hire your own attorney or represent yourself. Is that how you're going to proceed?
It looks like because some of the quoting on the charge is not correct, so I'm going to have to hire an attorney.
Okay. Deputy, criminal history?
And Georgia, 12 and 15, DUI and BUI, harassing calls in 14.
Your Honor, he's got a local truck, but he's out on the Sunday, so there's
He likes to drink and he likes to harass.
Apparently.
a year.
And I didn't threaten her, Your Honor. Yeah, I didn't threaten her, Your Honor. I just made a statement.
Oh, no.
I got off the
Some
shot.
statements are bad, though. So don't talk about the facts of your case. Don't talk about the facts of your case. Bond set at $15,000. Court dates October the 13th at 9 o'clock. No contact, directly, indirectly, through a third party, the alleged victim. Good luck, sir.
What did you just say?
Your bond is $15,000. No contact with the victim. Step over to the T. When the light comes on, sign next. Red X. State your name, sir.
Andrew Rossini. Mr. Rossini, you're before the court. Your charge is fraudulent use of credit card and fraudulent use of personal ID. Do you understand the charges? Yes. I understand you be given copies of paperwork and advised of your rights. Is that true? Yes. All right, sir. Based on your application, you make too much money to qualify for the service of the Public Defender's Office at this time. However, the law recognizes your financial situation may change, and you can reapply later. You also have the option of hiring your own attorney or represent yourself. Any questions about these options?
Yeah, I just was in here in jail for 30 months, so I don't have a job. I haven't had it.
Well, then why did you put that you make $600 a week?
Well, that's what they asked me at the time. But
so they asked you how much you make a week.
I mean, when I get out,
$600.
When I get out, I'll be working, but I just don't have any money left.
Okay, all right. Well, as I said, if your financial situation changes, you can reapply.
Okay.
So, with that being said, on the fraudulent use of a credit card, bond is $5,000. Fraudulent use of personal ID is $5,000. No contact with your alleged victim. Your court date's going to be October the 31st at 9 o'clock, Nick Saban's birthday. And I'm revoking the release from 22-36-43. Fuck, sir.
All right. Ian, you would have no idea. Nick Saban is the coach of Alabama football.
Okay, there we go.
So in the South, that's religion, okay? So everyone's going to know this.
Okay. I do have my court date coming up.
Is it 2 counts each? Composite. Good composites, same bro.
Okay.
Step on the T.
Can I give
When the light comes on, sign next. Red X. State your name, sir.
Mr. Berg, before the court, no valid driver's license, attached tag not assigned, possession of methamphetamine, possession less than 20 grams of marijuana, and possession of paraphernalia. Do you understand the charges?
Yes, sir.
I understand you've been given copies of paperwork and advised of your rights. That's true, sir?
Yes, sir.
Based on your application, you do not want a public defender. You're going to hire your own attorney or represent yourself.
I need a public defender. I'm sorry. Last night when I come in, I was tired.
You're fine. You're fine. Don't talk about the facts of the case. Don't talk about what condition you might have been in when you came into jail. But they've got the paperwork there at the jail, so they'll let you reapply. Yes, sir. Jeff, you criminal history?
Yeah, 22 counts of unarmed burglary, 2 counts of petty theft, VOPs through 21. You have a side note. He was just released DOC August the 24th.
Bond set at $1,000 on no valid driver's license, $500 on attached tag not assigned, $5,000 possession of meth, $2,500 on the pot, $1,000 on the paraphernalia. Court date will be October the 31st at 9 o'clock with random UAs. Did you know that that's Nick Saban's birthday?
Step to your right to the T. I'll be glad when we get off that date. Next.
The reason why
State your
people
name,
are
sir.
tired of being in custody is meth keeps you awake, and a lot of people who are on the streets will use meth to stay awake for multiple days because being on the street is dangerous.
Right.
So often when they get into custody, they get off the meth and they just crash hard. So you get a lot of people who are just like their first court appearance after they've been held overnight, and they're just like they can't stay awake because.
Speaking of which, this is happy hour. Do y'all have cocktails somewhere? Because you need one.
I have got to start doing court appearances fairly soon. So,
are you kidding me?
No, I'm going to be doing some of this. I'm going to be doing bail hearings.
I stopped drinking,
are you
but I might need
serious?
to smoke.
Seriously.
That's wild because it's. I mean, you're out west. So what time zone? What time is it there?
It is just about 4 o'clock.
Right, you're only an hour behind me. Okay.
Yeah. They out where I am, they run bail hearings for people who are newly in custody for most of the day. The only hours they don't are midnight to 8 a.m.
Wow.
So if you're arrested,
the prosecutor doesn't know who
to a court within 24 hours.
I mean, you're in custody. You want out, or you want an opportunity to get out at least.
Yeah, and they got to get you in front of a court within 24 hours.
Saving is.
So, yeah.
That's good. Keep it that way. We don't want to encourage this conversation at all.
Since when have you ever not wanted to encourage a conversation with me? All right,
You're
Mr.
not
Brown.
drowning me in that rabbit hole.
Mr. Brown, you're fully court charged with possession of marijuana with intent to sell or distribute, possession of paraphernalia, resisting officer without violence, and driving license suspended or revoked. You understand this charges, sir? Yes, sir. I understand you've been given copies of paperwork and advised of your rights. Is that true? Yes, sir. Based on your application, I find that you do qualify for the service of the Public Defender's Office. I'm going to go ahead and appoint the Public Defender to represent you. Any question about that? No, sir. Deputy, Criminal History, Mr. Brown?
Boom, boom, boom. 18 false report, attachment tag, less than 20, DWLSR, obstruction, intimidating witness, trafficking amphetamine, 13, resisting without fleeing elude, DWLSR, driving license suspended.
I'm good. Bond set at 5,000 on the marijuana with intent.
I'm good.
1,000 on the paraphernalia. 2,500 on the resisting, and 1,500 on the driving license suspended revoked. Court date on all these cases will be October the 17th at 9 o'clock with random UAs. Good luck, Mr. Brown.
Step to your right to the T. When the light comes on, sign. Red X, sir. State your name.
Michael Taylor. Mr. Taylor, you're fully court charged with tampering with evidence, possession of less than 20 grams of marijuana, and possession of paraphernalia. Do you understand the charges?
Assembly line.
Yes, sir. I understand you've been given copies of paperwork and advised of your rights. Is that true?
It says possession of less than 20 grams of marijuana. Is it legal in Florida now? Marijuana?
No, it is not.
I know medical is, but I don't know if it's recreational. It's not. Is it legal where you are, Ian?
I have people coming and knocking on my door asking me to sign petitions probably 3 times a week.
It'll become legal down there, I'm sure, but
probably, but it's not at the moment.
Right.
It's legal where I am.
Is it?
Yep.
It's legal in Illinois.
I think you can be out and about with less than 30 grams. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's legal the way I see it.
Yep,
But,
and
okay.
I mean, if I walk to the convenience store right across the street from there is a pot shop, so I can just walk in and be like, "Hey, can I get a pre-rolled joint?" And they'll sell it to me. Or can I get some, all sorts of various products.
We have a
apparently
place,
not in Florida yet.
We have a place near me, which is a pseudo pot shop. They sell all the paraphernalia, and they'll sell you the paraphernalia, but no, unless you actually have a medical card, it is not legal in Florida.
There you go.
Yes, sir, that's correct. Based on your application, I find that you do qualify for the service of the Public Defender's Office. I'm going to go ahead and appoint the Public Defender to represent you. So you got an attorney now. Any question about that? No, sir. Deputy, criminal history, Ms. Taylor?
Locally, this year, less than 20 paraphernalia. South Carolina, 22 assault battery, 21 assault battery, 19 burglary. It goes back to 12 there. Georgia, you had a FTA times 2 this year and a felony criminal mischief last year.
Where's home, Mr. Taylor? Sir?
That's local. That's local.
Yes, sir. Okay.
I
work at trains.
That case is still pending and came back or not. I don't know if it'll be on probation or I don't know if I can see that.
All right. Mr. Taylor, on the tampering with evidence bond set at 5,000, the marijuana is 2,500, the paraphernalia is 1,000. The court date's going to be November the 7th at 9 o'clock with random UAs. Good luck, Mr. Taylor.
Okay. Can you tell me the total of my bond?
8,500.
Okay.
You about to get a copy of it? Step on the T.
Remember, you look marvelous.
Corporal Jones, good morning, sir. Have you had a chance to play the first appearance video?
Okay, this is short, but this is actual court if you want to see. So those are first appearances. This is sort of the next appearance. It's actually Jackson County, same district.
Morning. Yes, sir, I have.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen at the jail, I'm Wade Mercer. I'm the county judge in Jackson County. On the screen at the jail, hopefully you're going to see me. You're also going to see the prosecutor in the courtroom, another attorney, and then Mr. McDaniel has already introduced himself to you. He's the assistant public defender. He's at the jail in person.
I'm going to ask Ms. Jeffcoat in the courtroom to introduce herself.
This is Shayla Jeffcoat, Assistant State Attorney.
And can you see and hear both of us at the courthouse, Corporal?
Yes, sir, we can.
Great. Mr. McDaniel, we do have one person in the courtroom, and she's here on behalf of Mr. Wentz. So let me take that case first. Shane Wentz. Mr. Wentz, come on up. Mr. Wentz, good morning, sir. You're here for first appearance. Your daughter-in-law is in the courtroom on your behalf. You've been accused of one count of DUI with property damage. Mr. Wentz, I'm going to tell you I've read the complaint. There is probable cause in the complaint, and I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you for first appearance purposes.
So there you go, Ian. We talked about it earlier. Here's a first appearance on a DUI.
Wow.
Shackled up.
It's really rare. Like, to be in custody like this for a first appearance on a DUI, you'd have to either have hurt somebody, and usually pretty badly, or like sometimes you see cases where people have done things like pinballed across,
right,
back and forth across parked cars or something, and then it's
you got to earn it. You're saying,
yeah, it wouldn't just like if you're just picked up at a, they pulled you over because you didn't have, you forgot to signal on a turn or whatever, and they smelled alcohol on your breath.
And you blew a .09 or something. And like, okay, whatever. 0.9 or whatever.
Like, off you go at the
drunk but not crazy, right? Yeah.
Here's the driving.
And I'm going to ask you to listen to your attorney, Mr. McDaniel.
And can I just real quick?
Your Honor, case number 22652 CT, Mr. Wentz is going to enter a plea of no contest to driving under the influence of alcohol with property damage, understanding that he sentenced 11 months, 29 days probation, 50 hours of community service, minimum driver's license suspension, DUI, school, AA classes that's ordered by probation, and a fine of $1,078. That'll resolve this case.
Thank you, Mr. McDaniel. Ms. Jeffcoat, is that agreeable with the state?
It is, Your Honor.
And Mr. Wentz, did you hear that agreement?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any questions about that agreement?
No, sir.
Mr. Wentz, is that the plea that you would like to enter?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Wentz, have you?
I even missed this. Is he represented, or is that the prosecutor just spit that offer at him?
I thought it was the public defender who basically said this is a deal.
It might be a public defender who received the offer and conveyed it right there.
You already signed the waiver of rights form?
He accepted his appointment.
Yeah. It sounded like a good offer to me.
But can I jump in real quick on the DUI thing? Because it really is one thing that's strange. But coming from New York to Florida, Florida will let you get away with like 3 DUIs before it becomes a felony offense. In New York, anything over 0.18 is an aggravated driving under the influence, and that is a felony first time. I don't care. You're screwed.
Right.
And Florida doesn't have anything like that, which is just a strange difference between states. And Ian, you might find that interesting in terms of just comparing how different states deal with these sorts of things.
Yeah, it's really wild when I, from like here in Canada, the criminal law is mostly the same, whether I'm in, Alberta or British Columbia or even Quebec. But in the States, it's like you cross the state line and suddenly you've got major differences in rules, and potentially the act of crossing the state line might itself have been a crime. Depending on sort of.
Yeah, so you don't really have that variance. If
no.
You're going to have very similar treatment in British Columbia or Ontario, for instance.
Yeah. Although Ontario was weird on bails.
Those Ontario pricks, they are.
Well, it's actually funny because the Supreme Court of Canada basically keeps calling out Ontario without specifically saying Ontario, knock it off. But most of the country, what I've been saying about you're usually released on like a no cash bail is true of most of the country.
Right.
Ontario is like every crime we want a surety release, and a surety for the people in the chat who don't, is like you've got somebody who's agreeing to supervise you and to be on the hook if you screw up,
right.
Which basically means you don't get release unless you've got friends.
Right.
which, you know, and
that's the difference between, I mean, that's just having a bail bondsman, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, and Canada, we don't do bail bondsmen at all.
So it has to be a friend as opposed to buying it, right?
Yeah, like it literally, you can't pay for somebody to supervise you like that. It's got to be, you know, a family member or a friend or somebody else who can be on the hook for it. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah, that form you're about to sign. Yes, okay. That form waives your right to a trial. It also waives your right to call and cross-examine witnesses because there won't be a trial. Mr. Wentz, I'm going to accept your plea of no contest to the charge of DUI. It's the first DUI. 22-652 CT is the case number. I'm going to judge you guilty of that offense, sentence you to 11 months and 29 days probation. Mr. Wentz, you will have the standard conditions of probation. In addition to the standard conditions of probation, you'll have a condition that you pay court costs and fines of $1,078. That's set by state and county law. You'll also have a condition that you successfully complete substance abuse counseling as approved by the probation officer. If you choose a private counselor, they will determine how many classes you need to attend, how many sessions. If you choose AA, we're going to put a cap on it of 12 classes. 50 hours of public service work will be imposed. Successfully complete DUI school. I do recommend the minimum driver's license suspension. You'll have a condition that you obtain a valid driver's license if one is reasonably available to you. Mr. Wentz, two more things. Number one is that we encourage people to try to get off probation early. The way we do that is if someone does half their probation and they've had no violation and they meet some conditions of the probation department, then we'll try to get them off probation early. So you could be off potentially in as short a period as 6 months if you do everything you're supposed to do. You have the full year if you need it, but you could be off at 6 months. Secondly, what's going to happen next is they're going to let you get dressed. Ma'am, he's going to be brought to the courthouse because that's where the probation office is at. He probably will be here in 20 or 30 minutes. Does he have transportation already? Okay, your daughter-in-law says that you don't have to worry about transportation. They've got that covered. So he'll be downstairs in the probation office, which is inside the county judge's office on the east side of the courthouse, probably a half hour. So, Mr. Wentz, she'll be here or someone will be here to pick you up. And when you get down there and talk to Mr. Goodson, he can talk to you about whether, you know, when you can get a work permit, what you got to do to qualify for a work permit after the dead time and that kind of stuff. Mr. Wentz, any questions?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Wentz, we'll see you in a little while at the courthouse. Ma'am, do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Logan Gruber?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gruber, good morning. Mr. Gruber, you're here for a hold out of Leon County. I printed the warrant out this morning. And what it shows, Mr. Gruber, is a warrant for one count of tampering with physical evidence, one count of possession of controlled substance. This warrant is signed back in May of 20. Mr. Gruber, what that means is you're going to be held for Leon County. When you get to Leon County, you'll go to another first appearance. When you go to first appearance over there in Leon, that judge will decide if you're entitled to a bond or not. I simply can't tell from the warrant. There's no bond on the warrant, but that doesn't mean that you very well may get one once you get there, but you won't get a bond until you get to Leon. I don't know when you'll get to Leon. Today is a Thursday. It's possible it'll be this week. It's also certainly possible it'll be sometime next week before you get over there. Any questions, sir?
No, sir.
Have a good day, sir.
Thanks.
Yes, sir. Isaiah Dudley.
We're just holding in your crude.
he probably tried to.
You're here for first appearance this morning, charged with 2 charges. They're both misdemeanors. You're accused of 1 count of criminal mischief.
Judge,
And actually,
just one correction.
Go ahead.
Just
Mr.
one
Dudley.
correction. The assault charge, it appears that the assault is against the officer. It's a felony charge. I question the, it
it's not
sounded to
an
be more like it was.
Okay,
It's not charged under the assault statute. It's charged under threat to officer, public official.
I think here's a confusion. The officer checked felony, but I think what he was talking about on the felony was the criminal mischief because the threat to the public official is clearly a first-degree misdemeanor. I read the statute this morning because we rarely see that charge. But if the damages that are alleged are about $1,200, since it's more than $1,000, he probably is considering the criminal mischief to be a felony. So, Mr. Dudley, you've been accused of 1 misdemeanor, assault to a law enforcement officer, a threat to a law enforcement officer, and also a felony criminal mischief. Mr. Dudley, there is probable cause for both charges. I'm going to set you a bond this morning. Your bond is going to be, I'm going to set you a cash bond in these cases because it appears there may be restitution owed. I'm going to set you a cash bond of $500 in the criminal mischief and $250 in the threat. Mr. Dudley, you've got a total cash bond of $750 cash only. Your bond has a condition of no contact with Sandra Vickers, and that also condition that you not possess or consume alcohol. So no contact with the alleged victim and no alcohol, Mr. Dudley, because it appears alcohol was a primary factor in this, as it has been in most of your arrests over the last 10 years or so. So, Mr. Dudley, I need you to stay away from alcohol while this case is pending if you do post bond. Mr. Dudley, do you have any questions?
No, y'all.
All right, Mr. Dudley, wish you the best, sir.
Best answer you could ever give.
Next case is Dimitri Claiborne.
You joke about that, but I heard word.
Mr. Claiborne, good morning, sir. You're here on coming back on a 10-day violation.
I don't need to test, so I can still do math. All right, yeah, $750. I'll do it. No problem.
Probation hold. Mr. Claiborne, I spoke to the clerk's office yesterday. They advised me that there had been an error and you've been placed on the docket before the warrant was signed, and it's not a problem. I know you came to court in front of Judge Garcia Tuesday. The problem is that the complaint alleges violation of probation as an arrest. Most probation officers that we deal with will still do a warrant, but some counties don't do a warrant if the complaint is for violation of probation and other charges. So in your case, Mr. McDaniel has already made us aware this morning that when you read the probation officer's affidavit, he or she says they're not seeking a warrant because you've already been arrested on it. So I talked with Judge Garcia this morning about the process she wanted to follow in her VOP cases such as yours, and she asked that I go ahead and set the normal bond like she would set. This is the kind of case she would set no bond in. So I'm going to go ahead and just hold you with no bond until you can see Judge Garcia again. I believe that you've had one court appearance in front of her, and they scheduled you for another one. I don't know when that is. If you want me to look it up, I'd be glad to. But that'll be your next court date. What date, Mr. McDaniel?
October 3rd.
So you're going to see her October 3rd, Mr. Claiborne, and you'll see where things stand. You still have your pending misdemeanor, and Mr. McDaniel is extremely organized. He may be able to tell us when your court date's going to be on that misdemeanor. Mr. McDaniel?
October 12th.
So I'm going to see October 12th on the misdemeanor. October 3rd is your court date with Judge Garcia. Any questions, Mr. Claiborne?
No, sir.
All right, sir. Have a good day.
No bond.
All right. I believe that takes care of everybody I had on the first appearance list. Ms. Jeffcoat, anything else from the state attorney's office?
Nothing further this time around.
And Mr. McDaniel, anything else from the public defender's office?
No, Your Honor.
All right, and thank you. And Corporal Jones, anything else in the jail?
No, sir, that's everything.
All right, that concludes our first appearances for today. It is 8:39.
Okay. I do appreciate you all being.
Okay, this is Judge Shelton. I put it on here. It's a few minutes. He mentions Law Talk with Mike on there, but it's actually fascinating because he discusses YouTube and what the judges are thinking about YouTube. It's really kind of cool. He's a super nice judge.
What's that at the bottom right?
Yeah.
Using a lot of discretion in what you talk
exactly
about on the chat. I have a feeling, like I said, a lot of the judges I think would, cut the chat off. But I think as long as we use a little discretion there, or I should say, I think we'll be okay. Just again, I'll just remind you, if you guys can kind of help me police it, because I can't watch it. I do read them, but generally it's during breaks, and it's generally just to be sure you guys aren't, no one's bad mouthing anybody. I mean, I don't care what if you comment about, whether you believe somebody or not. That's because I don't read that anyway. But just don't make any derogatory remarks, about people's names. Somebody made a comment about a name. Don't do that, or about how good, whether the attorneys are crazy or not. It's just a given. They're all kind of crazy. And the bots. Sometimes I have to look for the bots too.
It's Randy Shelton. He's so cool. Oops.
What's an MOD? See, Nanny, I volunteer as an MOD.
He doesn't know what a mod is.
Oh, moderator. I get it. Yeah, I know. I'm not very technologically savvy. Sadly, though, at the courthouse here, I'm probably the most tech-savvy judge there is, and that's really not saying much.
He's so damn charming.
Yeah.
And I do see that you guys do that, so I appreciate it. Moderate, that is. Oh, yeah. I have 2 cats. When I was
Okay, so he has a call, but like a bunch of the cases don't show up, and he's got another appearance later or something he's got to stay for. So he's like, I'll just respond to the chat on YouTube. I mean, like, how cool is that?
That is really awesome.
Is he going to answer the super chats?
He's like so sweet, this
at
guy.
home during COVID and doing Zoom from there, it never failed. Those cats would always, they wouldn't have anything to do with me any other time, but you get on a computer and that's like it's like catnip. The cats just jump towards you. What do I do for fun? I like to fish.
Of course.
I'm
He's a
trying to learn how to
Texas
fly
guy. Come
fish, but I got 2 left feet. I like being outdoors. I like working on stuff. My daughter has antiques and stuff like that. Some of it are just vintage, not really technically antique, but I just try to work on that stuff. I'm not really all that handy, but I enjoy that. Spending time with my family. My mom and dad live close, so I spend time with them. In the evening, I think probably the favorite thing to do is just be there with my family, just watching TV and trying to lure the cat over. I'm a Texan. I've lived here. I was born here. I've lived here almost my entire life. There was a short period of time when I was young when we lived in Houma, Louisiana. I was born in Odessa. We moved to Houma, Louisiana. And that was a really culture shock because Odessa's in the middle of the desert and
Shockingly,
Houma, Louisiana's in the middle of the swamp. So I don't know that I know Judge Middleton.
Okay, Judge Middleton, I do a bunch of videos on. So there's a bunch. Here's what's going on. There's a bunch of Law Talk with Mike viewers in his chat, cross-examining him, and he's being sweet. That's what's cool.
I know Judge Lockwood a little bit. I know you guys watch him. I've heard of Judge Kim. I haven't heard y'all talk about him too much lately. I'm almost sure, I can't remember who the syntax judge is, but I know I've met her because there's really only a handful of judges in the state that do a lot of CPS stuff, and so I know that. So I know I would know her if I.
CPS is Child Protective Services.
I saw her. No, I don't know if Judge Middleton is in Michigan. I guess I don't know him, but if you guys like him, he's probably a great guy. We'd probably get along really well.
Okay.
There is a conference for judges that do this kind of. If he does CPS cases and stuff like that, there's usually a national conference that a lot of us. I haven't been to it in a couple of years, mainly because of the COVID thing. But but I will.
Ian, they're telling me Quebec has bail bondsmen. Just saying.
I don't think, I'll have to check, but I believe that's actually a criminal prohibition, so it would apply across Canada. So I'd have to check, but I don't. Quebec has weird.
I like it. I like it though.
If I think of it, when I'm there, if the next time I go, if he's there, I'll look him up. And Judge Sims, is that the judge in Houston? Even if we're in person, I don't know that means we can't still have YouTube on. I intend to.
I don't know about Judge Sims, but they ask about Judge Arth, who I've done a video on, and they ask about Judge Middleton. So it's like, and he's like dutifully answering this stuff.
Have YouTube on.
Let me ask you honestly, how much fun would it be to watch him and Judge Middleton go fly fishing together?
Oh,
and just talk.
I would love to see him and Judge Simpson and a whole bunch of these. I'd love to get them together. There's no way to pull it off, but it would be fantastic.
We go back in person. I do have another camera, so we'll get that set up. It'll be. I think I'll focus it mainly on the witness, so that you guys could be able to see them. I've been a judge almost 16 years.
See, it's interesting. He's like, no, even when I go live, I'm going to stay on YouTube. And he's just a nice guy, but that's what he's saying.
And I'm up and I've got another 4-year term coming up starting in January, so I'll be here a little while. Yeah, Judge Lockwood is just north of me. The county to the north and the county to the west. He's in those counties. He kind of works several different counties. Oh yeah, Judge Sims. That's right. You guys used to watch the one in Houston. I can't remember her name. I know her too. Yeah, I know the audio isn't great in the courtroom. It's better than I thought it would be. Oh yeah, I heard about Judge Sam. Yeah, that's the other thing. I know that some of you guys send videos to like, what's the lawyer in Chicago with the YouTube, Mike, Law Talk with Mike. Technically, you shouldn't be doing that, but another judge would probably have a fit. Actually, I'm a little flattered, but nevertheless, it's, you know, I'm not condoning it. So, you know, but if you do it, there's nothing I can do to you, really.
So
I hate to admit it. His show is pretty funny. I've watched it a couple of times. And you know, the whole purpose of the YouTube thing was because courts are supposed to be public hearings and open to the public. So when we went to YouTube, to Zoom, then the only way we could really do that is if we did the, did it on YouTube. So really, it's just a way to be sure that the hearings are public, you know, in a public setting. Now, I really don't have any plans to stop YouTube. I mean, you guys watch some of the other judges in this county. I mean, a lot of them, even though they're in person, still use YouTube. So apparently there's not really any sort of, there's not a general rule against using it, even if it's in person. I do take stuff off of YouTube occasionally. Like the other day, there was some stuff that was probably, you know, kind of sensitive concerning the child. So I took that off just, you know, because it was just kind of a sensitive thing. Some of the attorneys don't care for it much. You know, if they ask me to, I will, or at a very minimum, I'll turn the chat off. You're well. I'm glad I do get to interact with you guys. Judge Art, where is Judge Art? Is he the judge up in Pennsylvania?
No,
By any
he's in
chance?
Texas, brother.
Heard of him. I think I even looked for him. Well, look, thank you guys for all the compliments and the questions, and we'll do this again another time. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and log off, and I'll see you guys later.
Please stay on mute. Please turn your cameras on and stay on mute.
Brace yourselves. This is Judge Alex Manning. It's the end, and she is a fireball, and she's awesome.
I've got to step out at this point, but thank you for having me on. And
thank you, Ian.
Thanks. Nice to meet you, Ian.
Likewise. Cheers.
All right. Good night.
All right, everybody. I'm going to just run through this real quick while Ms. Free puts this other lady in, and then we'll get back to the rest of these hearings. When I call your name, everybody, yeah, touch that look. Tony seemed to have walked off. Tony, this needs to be important. You need to be in front of your camera. All right. All right, everybody, if you stand by, let me get back to this one right here. Let's see. Dwayne Holt and Ronika Williams. Miss Williams, up off the bed. Don't want to see you. All right.
Ronika Williams is full of crap. Oh, God. You're going to enjoy this, man.
Oh, my God.
Where is she? I don't know if you can see. Oh, Rodnika's right there. She's right under the judge. Poor Dwayne Hall at some point hooked up with this broad, and now... and now he is regretting it. Oh, good Lord.
Okay. Let's do it.
Mr. Williams, where you at? Mr. Hall. Yep. Right. Y'all both raise your right hands for me. Y'all swear affirm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth. Mr. Hall?
Right here, Your Honor.
Miss Williams?
Yes.
All right. Glad to see you out of bed. Mr. Hall, you have any witnesses besides yourself?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. What about you, Miss? Where are the witnesses at?
I'd say it's an inauspicious start when the judge says, you know, I'm glad to see you out of bed.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Maybe you didn't start your Zoom appearance properly if that's the opening remarks from the judge. Just saying.
Yeah, you know, I mean, when I went to the freaking thing downtown, I showed up in a suit. I didn't show up in pajamas.
You were looking good, brother. That was fantastic, by the way. Still, thank you for that.
Mr. Hall.
All around.
I'm here, his mother.
All right, ma'am, you need to leave the room. You can't be in there while we're testifying.
Okay.
All right. And what about you, Miss Williams? You have any?
You said, do I have a question?
Witnesses.
No, I don't.
All right. Go ahead, Mr. Hall. Tell me what happened. While you're seeking this video, start from the most recent event, Mr. Hall, and work backwards. Go.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, I perhaps had took out a TDO out on her because I had got tired of her kept on calling me, kept on harassing me and stuff. Because back in July 1st, we had that was her last day here at my home, and she started making like multiple threats, talking about saying something about she was gonna get some peoples to pull up at my house, and start threatening my mom, saying something about she was gonna get her mom to jump my mom and stuff because we were asking her back for the house.
I mean, that's a brand new one to me. Yeah, I've heard my dad can beat up your dad, but my mom's gonna beat up your mom. That's fresh for me.
Yeah, I have not heard that one before.
But that's what we're dealing with. And that's why Judge Manning loses her freaking mind on the regular. She does. But I'm telling you, I watched a little bit of this call. It's not her. It's the people in her court. No sane person could endure it. Not any of us.
Stuff like that. And then ever since when we had broke up, she kept on calling, kept on doing the harassing phone calls. And about like the second or the third week of July, she had popped up there at my job. And before I was out, had took a break, I probably had seen her right there by my job.
Hey. Ms. Rodnika, first things first, you show up in my courtroom, you're laying in the bed. Then you leave your camera on after the counter call and you get tucking yourself in, getting all cozy like this is some sleep story that's going to put you to sleep.
Yeah,
there, man.
Okay, right. You can say she's cranky, but what part of this does anybody disagree with?
I have
none. That'd be none. It's beautiful.
You're eating Funyuns, and you think this is just a big old joke.
Funyuns.
I have a question.
And you're not listening.
You're eating Funyuns and you're not listening. I mean, I think that says it all. I do.
Okay. All right. I was not prepared for this, Mike.
I'll hear your side, Ms. Williams. Go ahead.
Okay, the stuff that he just said, it's not true because I came to the job. I did come to the job. That's cool.
Well, then it is true. He said you came to his job.
Okay, I came to the job to see how he was doing. That's all.
Okay.
At the part of his house.
He's filing for some like TPO on her for coming to his job. And she said, everything he said is not true. So I came to his job. And she's like, so it is true.
You admitted to the crime. Stalking at least.
Oh, and she already spent the judge because she's full of it. Oh.
This is amazing.
That's why I feel bad because I put the entertaining parts of Judge Alex's call on, and it might make her look crazy. She's not crazy. These are rational reactions to this behavior.
Oh no, the judge is absolutely like we're reacting almost the exact same way that the judge is.
Absolutely,
it's not irrational.
I mean, you caught some of my first Judge Alex video.
Yeah, I did.
You were in. That was literally. I've done almost 700 videos. That was the craziest hearing I would say on the channel so far.
I don't know how this poor woman catches so many of these ridiculous circumstances. I mean, we did Florida Man for like half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And this is more ridiculous.
It's out of control. All right, let's
That's
go.
not the part. No. And then the part that I have a gun in my phone that he said he was going to shoot me with his gun.
So you didn't file a counterclaim against him, ma'am. This is about you. And
She claims she has a gun in her phone. Yes, just hold on. She'll get there. She'll get there, everybody. But you all have the same questions that we do.
then did you go? I mean, you went. He told you to leave her alone, get out, and then you turn around and you go up to his job. You say he's lying about it, but then you say, "Yep, I did go to his job."
I
So did you?
I have a threat. I have video in my phone right now.
So this is about you didn't file a counterclaim. Did you?
Listen, when I went to the office,
No. This is we don't do that. Did you threaten his mother?
No, I did not. I didn't say not one word to his mama. I didn't say not threat to his mama.
Stand by. Mr. Hall, so your mama's out of the room, right? Can you bring your mama back in the room for me?
Okay. I'm gonna go.
Oh my
I was
God.
gonna say she better be when she can't hear you.
Oh my God.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Mama's
All
coming
right,
in.
Mom. I'm sorry. Are you Miss Hall? I just know Mom.
And she lays it down.
Miss
She
Robinson.
lays it down.
Okay, Ms. Robinson. Can you do me a favor? Can you raise your right hand for me? You swear firm testimony you're about to give is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right. Go ahead and tell me what you personally witnessed with Miss Williams.
Oh.
Anika is a compulsive liar. She's very ungrateful. She's very manipulative. She's very sneaky. And she did say that she was going to have her mother and her sister to pull up at my house, not once, not twice, but 3 or 4 times. And when I asked Renika for my keys up on her moving out July the 1st, she didn't have 1 key. She didn't have 2. She had 3 keys to my apartment. She's a very good liar.
Yeah, she did that one. She went that route twice in a row. Not once, not twice, but
Now, Mike, let me ask you, as a matter of law, does that sound like a true threat to you?
what's that?
Does that sound like a true threat?
A true threat to her?
To the mother? Yeah.
It actually kind of does. Given her demeanor, yeah.
All right.
Manipulate.
But do you feel in fear for your safety?
Yes, ma'am. Because her mother and her sister, they are good about going around fighting people for her battle. They fight. She called them and they come and they fight people.
Look at her.
For her. She also
I get what you're saying. It's hard to prove, but look at her nasty demeanor. And then when someone says, yeah, they're threatening me, you're thinking, yeah, I find that easy to believe. And these are big credibility contests.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And she sits there and picks up a phone in the middle of this goddamn thing. Yeah, that's somebody who's disconnected enough to do stuff like that. Wait till the phone starts ringing.
If I were, I'd be worried.
Yeah.
pull up. They was having a hotel party one
It's
night.
so obnoxious. It's so
She
obnoxious.
had her sister's boyfriend, and her mother to up and to pull up and to fight some of the S's in the
Yeah. Well, Miss Rodriguez seems to think it's more important, excuse me there, Miss Robinson, to talk on her phone to somebody instead of paying attention while she's eating Funyuns, licking her finger. So,
probably talking to her mother and sister now from the
I was thinking every one of those things. When she said it, I wanted to just find this judge and hug her. She thinks it's more important to talk on the phone, eat Funyuns, and lick her fingers. I'm like, oh, God bless you, Judge.
I
people.
can't add anything to that one.
Oh.
Nailed it. Okay, let's carry on.
You gonna do? Send a mama down here to pull up on me?
Yes, she probably will.
I doubt it. That wouldn't be a good move. That wouldn't be a good move for her mama. I can promise you that.
Yep.
All right, Miss Williams, hang up with your mama or whoever you talking to on the phone.
I have no idea, but my guess is Judge Alex is packing, and I wouldn't try it.
This is Texas, right?
This is Georgia.
Georgia just passed constitutional carry, so might be the case.
If it's all allowed, she's got it. That's my guess. I have no idea. That's just my guess.
I believe you.
And respond to the allegations about you.
Okay, I got one question to say. I did say I can get my mom to put up with me and get my stuff out of the house.
No, you called him Pope.
Hey, Miss Robinson, I got this. Go ahead.
I got this.
I was moving my stuff out of the house.
Listen to this phone.
Me and my mom was on the phone. I called the police. I had to come to the house, and they came.
Your mom was trying to call you.
Idiot woman.
Yes, my mom called
Turn your phone off. Turn it off. I don't want to keep hearing it going on. You're in court. What do you want to say? Because you really want to answer that phone and talk to your mom.
No, I'm talking to you. So I'm fixing my fat because everything they saying, I was moving my stuff.
They're talking to you. You know what, ma'am? You're looking. Somebody's in that room talking to you. Who's in there talking to you?
My boyfriend.
Thank you.
So listen.
What?
So listen. So when I was moving my stuff, I was already doing. Listen.
All that stuff out of here.
Miss Robinson, I got this. Go ahead.
So I was moving my stuff out the house already. The police came and escorted me and get my stuff out the house, and they came. I called the cop out there to the house. I did. Because my mom said call the cops, and I did.
Okay.
So whatever they saying is not true. Because guess what? When I was staying with them, he kept hitting on me. Yes, he was. He kept touching me. I violated that.
Now we're off base.
You violated.
Yes, he kept hitting on me. Like, he kept hitting on me.
All right. So you don't have any kind of counterclaim against him. Anything in, and you can put Mr. Holt back on camera, Miss.
You see that, though? This is what you're dealing with. She just is making up allegations now. And the judge calls her and says, you haven't filed any counterclaim. He's seeking a temporary protection order against her.
I would too.
I would too. She's nuts. So he comes in and then she just says, oh yeah, he violated. He did this. He did that. I have no idea. I wasn't there. I doubt anything that comes out of her mouth right now.
I think that it should be a mutual protective order, to be honest with you. I think
Yeah, sure.
The way you just deal with it. And
I think he'd be fine with that because he just wants her away.
I think that would be the best solution.
Yep.
Robinson, anything else you want to tell me specifically related to the allegations that Mr. Hall made?
Okay. Mr. Bahal did.
Because they're not
He,
living together anymore.
like he always hit on me. Always. That is not nothing new. He always hit on me. So when I tried to go put a charge on him about this situation, it never failed. And I talked to the office about this. I have it in the office when I got the paper. We have his friends calling my phone last night harassing me. He had this girl named Lulu calling my phone harassing me about the charge.
You did
all
this
this
to yourself by your behavior.
Absolutely. I mean, here's the thing. You're going through this and you just see her behavior. Your behavior is it.
You did this to yourself by your behavior.
I don't believe anything she says. We're sitting right here. You can't act like a civilized human being. What are you doing when you don't have a judge watching you?
Yeah, God, I can only even imagine what's going on behind closed doors and how she interacts with other people and others aren't watching.
Right. And I don't know anything, but Dwayne Hall is the guy who brought this. I don't know him. Is he a perfect person? Probably not. But between the two of them, who's causing more trouble? It's her.
Well, and again, I don't know either of them either, but Dwayne's at least capable of chilling out and keeping quiet while all of this is going down.
He made a very nice presentation. It makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
And another way he threatened me. He threatened my family.
I don't believe that.
I don't
Anything
either.
else? You have proof? You have any evidence? You don't have witnesses? You have anything like that? So you have anything else?
He said he was gonna kill me with his gun. I have the gun in my phone right now.
He said he's going to kill me with a gun. I highly doubt that. I really do.
That. Prove that. Give me any piece of evidence, anything that even suggests.
Don't you worry. Oh, don't worry about it. She's got the gun in her phone. Let's see.
Want to see it? I will show it to you.
You have a gun in your phone?
Yes.
Oh, God.
I don't think I even understand that statement. You have a gun in your phone.
Yeah, I had a gun sent to my phone. Yes, I did.
You had a gun sent to your phone. That's how that works.
Right. It's everybody.
I don't understand what you're saying. You had a gun sent to your phone. That doesn't really make any.
Listen, the gun came up. Someone sent me the gun, the picture that he said he was going to shoot me with the gun.
All right. Well, he didn't. That was somebody else. Anything else you want to talk to me about that's relevant to this hearing?
Thank you, Judge.
Only thing I want him to do is stay away from me.
All right, and you're going to stay away from him for 12 months. You're going to stay 200 yards away from him. No contact with him or anybody going to get anybody to contact him. You're also going to take the FFIP class, was a 26-week class. Ms. Williams, put your email in the chat so that I can send you your compliance hearing notice, because if you don't, you're not in compliance, you're not doing what you say, you could be incarcerated for not following my order. Put your email down there in the chat to Miss Free. Then you can go hang up, talk to your mama all day long or whoever's calling you. All right, put your email in the chat. Once you both, you, Mr. Hall, and you, Ms. Williams, put your email in the chat. Y'all can both leave them. Y'all stay healthy and safe and have a good week. This hearing's over. Moving on to the next one. All right, let's see. John Lewis and Miss, is it?
Well, there you have it.
I was going to say, please tell me there's more, but Jesus, that was...
She's the bomb, isn't she? So I've only done 2 videos on her, and you've been there for both of them.
She is literally the auction Barker, Texas. Not a judge, but oh my gosh, she's amazing.
You know what? And I get it, but you came in later. But I actually opened this video. It's only like 2 minutes long. I opened this video with a clip from her. This was from today. That clip was from yesterday. It's fantastic. I mean, you've got to go back and check that out too. But that is awesome. So on Law Tech with Mikey, a judge has to get 3 appearances to qualify for a playlist. She's in 2, and like you were there. When was that? The other video 5 days ago?
Yeah, maybe if that.
She's perfect. I mean, I have a lot of good judges, but she is just another good one. She loses her freaking mind, and you think she's insane when you see it out of context. She is not.
No, she's absolutely. Every time you paused and I said something, and I don't think I'm insane. When you played it after, she said it exactly the way that I did, but just like a few beats faster.
Right.
She's fantastic.
Oh, wait, the next one was just as crazy. Some lady was cutting herself on his ring. Oh, God, no. Oh, no. She really is. And I feel like I have to defend her. Here's the thing. When I was doing that, because people keep sending me stuff, because after that first clip was just out of control. It wasn't her. It was the defendant that was nuts, who thought, oh, I've got asylum in Russia and whatever, the whole thing. But then I saw her handle some like normal call. Some people who had reasonable disputes and like argued this. She is a perfectly rational person under those circumstances.
I think she is. She came to, in my opinion, the right decisions.
Right.
But she clearly reacts to the temperature of the room.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It's fun. It's fun. It's fun, but I would, if she was in my district and I could vote for her, I would say retain all day long.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't in a heartbeat. I mean that, and I think that that's something that people don't realize is that when you're electing judges, and I believe it's all states, but it might not be. When you're electing judges, you want somebody that has judicial temperament, but that doesn't mean sitting there and taking it when you're dealing with BS.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the judiciary needs to lash back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And put people in their place and maintain order.
Yep. And it can be done in different ways.
Very well.
It can be done in different ways with different personalities, but I think she's got an approach that does work.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's appropriate to her geography. I think it's appropriate to the people she's working with. So, I have no complaints there.
I'm just saying, you and I do this all day. Okay, so if we rolled in there and we're representing somebody, we would have no problem getting along with this judge. She's not a lunatic.
No.
Because we wouldn't say stupid shit to her.
Well, but that's the problem. And like we've talked about this privately and on stream. The difference is when you're pro se, you get a little bit of leniency, and you should get a little bit of leniency.
Right.
When they get all of the leniency in the world, it makes our jobs a freaking nightmare.
It does.
Because now I have to analyze your motion citing, and I've literally had this happen, citing Star Wars and Jesus Christ on a freaking fire claim.
Wonderful things,
but
no authority there in terms of law.
No, of course not. No, they can't cite anything. They're citing Star Wars and Jesus Christ,
right.
And I have to now distill this down into an actual legal argument that I can respond to. It makes my life a freaking headache to deal with pro se litigants.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you've been there before.
Oh, I've been there, but not very much. Only because I've been there in my career, not for the past 20 years or so. Because I'm doing civil work, and by and large, I'm opposed to insurance companies. I'm opposed to guys like you. So here's what happens. I file a claim. I get somebody like John, a reasonable sort, who rolls in there and, God damn it, read everything and knows what's going on and presents a freaking decent argument. And then I've got to deal with it. That's it. But there's none of this drama.
Yeah, and honestly, I won't say 9 times out of 10, maybe 7 times out of 10, we get it settled in like a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a valid claim.
Because everybody knows what, or you do, you don't, and everyone really knows what happens when they do it.
Right. And
when you don't do it, it's just chaos.
Well. And that's the difference is down here, I'm not going to obviously name names of firms, but there are some firms that are better. There are some firms that are
of course.
And, if we're talking about like a roof claim, I had this girl that and this, I don't want to bore your audience, but it was a shingle roof.
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted like 3 times the market price.
Right.
And it's like, I can't do that for you. It wouldn't be right for my client. So can we come somewhere in the middle? And they say no. And that's when we end up actually going to court. And by the way, in that one, I can say 9 times out of 10, we win.
Right.
But it's because
you're picking your battles. You're like, no, this isn't right. We got to fight this one.
If it's a bad case for us, we'll settle it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not, we'll fight it.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we decide to fight it should be a signal. I mean, you tell me.
Mm-hmm.
If the insurance company's attorney, outside attorney, says we're going to fight this one, is that not a signal to say, hey, maybe I should take a second look at this?
Oh, yeah. It is. But not always, because what depends.
I'm not saying that you're going to lose if we fight it. I'm just saying, isn't it worth a second review?
No, but it's just what you were saying. Most of the time, well, it depends on how much you trust the opposing counsel's view of it. If it's somebody who you think they just don't know how to evaluate this, they're stupid. No, it doesn't mean much. But if it's somebody who's done there and they've tried the cases and everything, and then you're like, okay, I have to really reevaluate whether or not this makes sense. But you really actually will have that conversation. It's very collegial in that sense.
And that's the thing, is that it is a very friendly conversation. I mean, when I was back in New York and I did medical malpractice, I had a case, an opposing counsel. It was a lady that the claim was a poor knee replacement.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to prove that she fell down the stairs, and that's what blew out the knee replacement as opposed to the doctor's malpractice.
Right.
But plaintiff's counsel, very nice guy. We were entirely collegial.
Mm-hmm.
And he offered, and I came down to Florida before it happened, but he offered for the partner that was handling the case to come and give a lecture for his students, because he taught at Toro College, to give a defense perspective on law. Like, you can fight viciously and still be collegial.
Yeah, you know what makes me think of is I had a case involved. I had to depose an engineering expert because it was a construction accident and they were doing all this stuff. And they hired an expert. And I had a clerk who was just about to become an attorney, smart kid. And I said, this is an interesting expert deposition. It's very complicated. We're getting into all sorts of issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, do you mind if I just have him come in? And I knew he would say no. Go ahead. So but out of respect, I just said, do you mind if I have my clerk come in? He's like, no, not at all. And he comes in, and then afterwards, but just, this goes right in line with what you're saying. Afterwards, this guy spent 15, 20 minutes explaining what his perspective is and why he was doing, and like absolutely ate it up, like telling my clerk what he was doing and why he was doing it. And this is a damn good attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And then we parted ways and proceeded to pound heads for another 9 months. but one thing had nothing to do with the other. You know what I'm saying?
Well, but that's what I think people don't recognize that are not in our world. We are repeat customers of each other, so to speak. So, and I'll give one more anecdote, and then I know you probably want to go.
That's fantastic.
I had one of the partners at a firm that I worked with, and I might have shared this story already, so if I have, tell me. But he had a case with a newer attorney, and his kid had a baseball game that, he was in high school or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked for a continuance so he could attend the baseball game. And the guy said no. And he responded to the young attorney, I understand that this is the scheduled date. I did not know about the date of this game. I want you to understand that if you don't extend the professional courtesy, I will make sure that nobody in my firm extends a professional courtesy to you again. And that is going to hurt your career in the long run.
Oh, yeah, it will.
And almost every firm that I worked at, there was kind of a blacklist of who you don't extend courtesies to. Because it would take him nothing to have a joint request or a joint motion to extend the date. And it would have taken him nothing. It would not have harmed him at all. It was a matter of moving it maybe a week, depending upon the calendar clerk's schedule. But this is what's going on with the Boozy situation, and I don't think we have time to get into that, but don't punch at people that are trained to investigate, argue, tell a story, as like Nick Ricada said, and punch back. We're not gonna just sit there and take it. And that's a lesson people need to learn. And that was the lesson that guy learned. And he ended up, they had a stipulation to adjourn the case, and it worked out fine. But it's a fantastic story that I'll never forget.
Absolutely. We've all learned it coming up. Your reputation means a ton, or you can't get anything done.
Oh, absolutely.
You can't just be a lunatic with everybody else in the community. You're not like a lone wolf, and you're just going to do it. Doesn't work.
No, your reputation, particularly in our profession, is absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way that you get clients. That's the way that you keep clients. That's the way that you stay.
That's the way you get not rulings from judges. And I'm not talking about like bad favors or anything. I'm saying if you're an a-hole, you will just not get rulings. You have to be civilized in order to get rulings that you deserve to get.
Well, and even if you don't get the ruling that you want, if you're polite and you accept it with some degree of grace, maybe you have a shot the next time.
Mm-hmm.
If you had, for lack of a better term, and I apologize, bitch and moan, the judge is predisposed to rule against you the next time.
And everybody else. Yep, absolutely. That's beautiful. Well, that's cool. Now you're there. I've got one more for Alex Manning to get her playlist. But I think since I only met her like a week ago, and she now has 2 fantastic videos, I think the odds are high that Judge Manning shows up on Law Talk with Mike again.
I would love to see her again. she to me sounds literally like a Texan, like auctioneer at a cattle ranch.
Well, she's in Georgia, but I get what you're saying. That's the vibe. That's the vibe. Oh, there's so many cool ones, and it was interesting to me. Speaking of Texas, it was interesting to me to see Judge Shelton, who I've done a bunch of videos on and I absolutely love, but he was so honest. He's like responding to his chat, which most judges don't have the guts to do. To be honest, you have to have.
That was awesome.
He was like so honest, and then he was talking about like YouTube and like accountability or access, like court access and what you're doing. And he's like, yeah, it says no videoing, but there's really nothing I can do to you. He was just saying the truth.
Oh, absolutely.
And most judges don't have the balls to do that.
I have nothing but massive respect for that. And the fact that he would take the questions and he would talk about them and it all came up, and it didn't seem particularly like he was censoring anything. He was just, I think the idea, it's what I was saying before. Access to justice is not just being able to file cases. It's being able to sit there in the courtroom and watch what's going on. That also is access to justice, and it's an aspect that I think people don't pay enough attention to.
Yep.
I mean, it should not require a guy in Tampa to run down to the courthouse.
That was so fun, by the way. I still can't believe Elisa came on with us. That was so fun.
That was amazing. She is absolutely a hero
was
to
so
me.
cool.
She was so cool, so calm, so collected. I can't imagine how you would do that after everything. And
I know it was so weird because like I got in contact with you because I wanted to, but I started talking to her. It was like early in the morning. It was a weekend, and I'm having this nice chat, and I'm like, and it was like really cool because we got along really well, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. And I put her on, and I'm like, well, that's one thing to have a personal chat, and the other thing to go on screen with it. And then we do the thing. She shows up. She's just like she was when she was talking to me. I'm like, I wanted that to come through so bad.
Oh, it absolutely. The genuine.
Because I was afraid she'd get nervous, and then I'd be like explaining to people. I'm like, no, she's really cool, but I didn't have to because I'm like, oh, you saw what I'm dealing with. Okay.
No, the genuine character absolutely came through, and she was such a pleasure to have. And she didn't I was a little hesitant on my questions, but she was so amazing with those.
Yeah, she was cool. All right, thanks, my man.
All right, brother.
Have a good night. That was awesome. Thank you all for coming out. I will see you all soon.